Good evening, folks. It's been a while since we've last seen vehicles on the racetrack, but we're coming at you live tonight here from Rockingham. I do have Andrew in the booth with us here tonight if you want to give a shout out.
Good evening, everyone. It's late, but we'll push through.
Apologies to the East Coast that we're definitely, it's late. Me being on the West Coast, it's definitely going to be like that sometimes. But we do have a race here tonight. If you can catch it, then great. Otherwise, it'll be on re-air for you tomorrow. Glad for anyone that does get to tune in here tonight. We did get to see an interesting race the last time in the East Division, where it was Andre Stefan getting his first career win. And kind of a surprise, honestly, when you got drivers like Chaz Chadwick, Tim Cording, and Atlee Weiss. And as I mentioned those are our top three starters here tonight, along with Bradley Ream. Going through, we've got James Reddick and Ant Meeperson. New to the series, Elena Reese driving for Atlee Weiss with David Bird. The 16 there of Jeffrey Gerald. Braden Hunt, our past winner there, Andre Stefan, alongside Jordan Walker. Jakov Rosevich, and this number 9 entry being piloted by Justin Day2 as they lost their pilot, the number 9 of Tim Hansen, no longer racing for them. So Day2 and many others are going to hop into that seat to fill out the rest of the season. Trevor Vaden, also a newcomer, getting to hop into a very fast truck here in the number 77. Jack Ross in the 00. Dalton Hayes, Craig Bush, Logan Nagy, and Taden Berggren. And we'll just kind of trickle through the rest of the field here. Tasha Wright in the number 30, going to make her first start here tonight in this Cartoon Network number 30 truck. Alongside team owner there, the 82 of AJ Kosnoff, so a pair of Cartoon Network entries driving the CN Racing team. And it's going to be interesting. I honestly don't know what to expect here tonight, Andrew.
Well, Rockingham's always been kind of tricky. 1 and 2 are different feeling than 3 and 4, so it's really anyone's game.
And especially when we've got new manufacturers such as Honda and even Subaru. Yeah. There's no telling if maybe tonight's the night that they could get their first win.
Yeah. It took Toyota a little while to get their first win in the Cup Series, I believe about a year or two or so. But you never know. You know, Honda and Subaru have a long legacy of motorsports pedigree with Honda and Indy cars, Subaru and rally racing.
And then you still got Chevy that hasn't gotten a win in the series either. So,
but here we are coming to the green flag.
Tim Cording, our defending champion, at the front of the field here with a good push by Atlee. Actually, our top 3 in the championship from last season already at the front of the field here tonight.
Taking a pretty early lead here. They're probably going to burn up those tires pretty quickly. Rockingham's a pretty abrasive track. See how that car feels out in the long run.
Most definitely, yeah. It kind of gives this track more character than most to have that abrasive feature to it. I think tonight we'll definitely see the wheelmen come out in these drivers to seeing how well they can combat the fall off on those tires. Oh wow, we got a blown engine here early. Chadwick, he dropped off the radar. I don't see how he pulled off the inside there. That's early. 56% damage to that engine for Chadwick.
Now I know, coming from the series, trucks, running my own team and all that, that engineer is definitely having a vacation. Whoever's in charge that day.
Well, and you almost got to wonder too if this is the growing pains for a new manufacturer, having Honda. They're trying to probably push that engine to its limit, and they're still trying to find the happy spot for it.
I don't remember the last time Honda ever made a V8 engine, but I'm sure that they've definitely got some tips from their somewhat rivals of Toyota and Subaru. But again, new team, new manufacturer, new engine.
And
I'm going
to have to apologize as our ticker is giving us fits here again. It's been doing that before. The only thing I can think of last time that I did to fix it was there was a driver with too long of a name. So we'll try to give you the best of the play-by-play on where everyone is running. As of right now, Tim Cording leads the way over Atlee Weiss. Third place, James Reddick. And fourth place, Ant Meeperson. Right now we're under caution. Being a 20-year-old game and all, there's often always something that's gonna throw a wrench in our plans. But we soldier on. It looks like the 81 of Cannon Gage perhaps brings out the caution here. See, the green flag is still green up until the point where he stops, I believe.
Yep, stops on the track.
Yep. There's the caution, and everyone else is still pointed in the right direction. So 2 casualties early on in the running here, as we've already lost Chaz Chadwick and Cannon Gage.
Well, I do believe Rock is definitely a test for these engines. Of course, the Gen 4 cars, and the last time the trucks ran here, there were no restrictor plates. So I'm sure these engines are putting to their absolute breaking point, going from 9,000 to 6,000 every single lap.
True. So it looks like we had the 50 of Tim Cording pit during this caution flag, giving Atlee Weiss the lead for the time being. That moves James Reddick up to second, Ant Meeperson up to third. The 40 of Bradley Ream sits fourth, and Trevor Vaden in fifth.
I highly doubt we're going to see pit stops this early, though. It's only 6 laps in. Tires are just getting warmed up. Highly doubt anyone's going to come in unless there's a drastic problem.
Both were a camshaft failure for the 2 that retired already. Like to throw a spotlight too here on Chris Mousey. Hopefully I'm not mispronouncing, maybe it's Mozzie. I'll have to get some clarification, but for now I'll just call him by Mozzie because that's the way it's spelled, at least. Chris Mozzie joining the series here in the 54, first race starting. The other drivers also making their first appearance here tonight include as we're going through, a lot of the newcomers running towards the front of the field, it looks like, as we've got Tasha Wright sitting in 20th right now. The 44 of Ryan Little had been in the series previously, left, and has now come back, piloting the number 44 for Burnt Money Motorsports of Taden Berggren. And the other newcomer, also Elena Reese, sitting 11th right now. And Trevor Vaden in the top 10 as well, sitting 5th actually, so top 5.
And you see, actually, some of these older guys sit back and let the newer guys use up all those tires. Oh, simulator time does help. Oh, but I found it's nothing good to a real thing, you know?
True. Wow, and that was quite the restart there for Ant Me Person, blowing by Atlee Weiss, making it 3 wide across the front of the field. Trevor Vaden settles into 2nd. Atlee falls back to 3rd. And to answer the question, the 65 is currently slotted in 33rd place. Still a lot of racing to go. There's no telling where the 65 may end up towards the end of this one.
You know, of course, I think we're just leading on to the dozenth lap here. Still very early in the running.
Atlee making a move to get back up into 2nd here. Dalton Hayes up to 5th, and the number 55 Smithfield Ford F-150.
I have a feeling we're going to see a definite revolving door of leaders and runner-ups. People use up their tires whenever they feel like they can, but you never know until those pit stops come out who's going to get the best out of the run.
And that's what makes for really good racing here at Rockingham. Definitely one of the better tracks that the series goes to for back and forth action.
There's always something to watch here at The Rock.
Bradley Ream trying to reclaim some of his vigor from last season. Seemed like he kind of came out of the gate swinging for the beginning of the winter championship and started to kind of falter throughout the playoffs and everything, and ultimately was a big surprise when he failed to transition from round to round in the playoffs. But maybe that's his strong suit. Maybe he gets out of the gate strong, and who knows? Maybe there's a lot more going on the internal side of things. But running second here today, not too bad.
Not too bad at all, especially Rockingham. You gotta wonder that last season fall off. Was it a internal struggle of not finding the car at the right place at the right time, or is it something more, or something inside the team messing up?
Well, you gotta kind of put in perspective too the fact that Dodge has now less strong contenders in their camp, so perhaps more resources have been delegated towards his team. With the absence now of Chadwick and the entire LFG Motorsports camp, that puts a lot more eggs in these Dodge camps for this year.
And kind of the trade-off of you have less research to go off of, but you have more money to burn for R&D.
And the crazy part right now, we got Dodge running 1, 2, 3 with Ant Me Person, Bradley Ream, and then the newcomer of Trevor Vaden in third.
So early in the race, it seems like that the small or less drivers, more money is kind of paying off.
And then we even got 3 Toyotas running 4th, 5th, and 6th, the 2 teammates of Atlee Weiss and Elena Reese. And then our first Ford all the way back here in 7th. Subarus running 8th and 9th when you've got Logan Nagy and James Reddick and Jack Davis in 10th. Jakov Rosovich, Andre Stefan, Zach Armstrong in some new colors. We saw him running the 68 truck last season, now piloting the number 4 for Railfan Motorsports. Braden Hunt, David Bird, Jeffrey Gerald, Tasha Wright, Justin Daytu, who's been having a stellar Cup season this year. Him and Atlee Weiss both hold the top 2 positions in the Rookie of the Year battle for the Sylvania Cup Series.
That Rookie of the Year war is always fun to watch.
Definitely.
They're flying for every position and every chance they get, but they also just want to finish.
And it's definitely kind of a different battle. Rather, you always got the championship battle, but that internal battle, it could be very different from even a championship battle.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it still looks like Chevy's going to have a hard road ahead tonight to get a win, as perhaps David Bird is their highest runner in 13th, it looks like. 14th. Oh, and we've got a wreck.
Car on the wall, turn 2, I believe.
And Jakov Rosovich looked like he was involved in it. We'll keep on the lookout here to see if they're under caution. Yep, they're under caution. So, coming back to the start-finish line, it looks like Ant Meperson's going to maintain that lead. We'll go find the 4 truck and see what happened here. He's running alongside Jakov Rosovich, and man, just kind of ran Rosovich off the track there, maybe.
We're going to have to get a better look at that. Because it looks like the 4 just kind of ran him down, maybe. Or maybe the 0 got loose on that bottom side and there was no contact. No, there definitely was contact between the 4 and the 0. Just got to that right rear. Air pushed him down there and up. And that's kind of the issue with Rockingham, is that these corners are so high and banking, the car just glides up. So if you're on that outside line, you're going to get collected.
So a relatively harmless caution there, as the 2 trucks are going to be able to continue onward. A lot of shakeup here during pit stops. It looks like Atlee loses a lot of spots to folks that might have only taken a quick gas and go. Let's see if it was perhaps gas and go for the 13 here. 2 tires, 4 tires. Just a bad pit stop for Atlee.
I, as a racer, I wouldn't understand just going for gas and go at Rockingham. At lap 30, their tires are pretty worn in and they're not at their absolute best.
They must have had some extra adjustments to make on that 19 truck, as he came in in 5th and is probably going to leave about 10th. Maybe even 12th or worse. 16th. So while we're under caution here, we do have some news pertaining to the ARCA series. And I completely I understand with where I guess that's where we got Andrew here tonight, willing to kind of fill us in on what's going on. So go ahead.
So if you are either new to the NSSR series or just tuning in and a part of ARCA, you may note that I have not been running the series last couple weeks, and there's been personal stuff that I would not like to go in here personally, but for the time being, for the foreseeable future, we are going to suspend the ARCA series for the indefinite future. I'm sorry that whoever joined ARCA is not getting their race worth out of it, but at this point in time, I don't feel competent running it at a weekly basis, and I'd rather have a better content and better schedule for people who are watching than just on the whim when I can. So,
and like I mentioned, it's like I understand completely. I too, I'm kind of scatterbrained when it comes to myself, so I feel bad for the product that I put out at times, and it's all about getting the best product for your guys' enjoyment. So I apologize on my part too for even like tonight being as late as it is. I didn't want to cancel the race. I wanted to give everyone a race that they could watch. But life gets busy, and I understand it completely. And definitely if you need to take a step away, Andrew, that's perfect. I wish the best of everything. So we can put on the back burner. It's not like it's not crucial. It's a hobby, We do this for fun, so.
yeah. But if you're on the NSR Discord and part of the ARCA team, I apologize for the delays and the confusion, but I will have you know that I do plan on restarting it at some point, but we're probably going to have to change the schedule and some things around.
We've had 3 really great races so far. I definitely appreciate the races that has been put out.
Yeah, we got 3 different tracks, but the same winner 21 car. Now we've got the short track of USA International, the tough and long road course of Daytona, and then the rough and high-speed track of Atlanta. 3 different tracks, same winner. But yes, I do plan on continuing the ARCA series at some point in time. I'm going to probably have to change the schedule or the races for the betterment of the series, but I'll let you know that I'm not touching points or the standings. I won't touch them until we continue. So your cars and the points and all that are safe with me.
And it's your project. I'm like, I kind of wanted to be hands off anyways. It's like I wanted to give you the ability to host something within the universe, and whichever way you see fit, that's perfect. I even say if you wanted to run it and then maybe post them later, you don't have to always live stream them. So if you wanted to do something like that too, I'm sure people would be excited to see the results and maybe even play out the rest of the season if you wanted to just kind of run the races, save the results, and if people wanted maybe like highlights of the crashes or something like that, you could maybe do that like in short videos. I know that YouTube Shorts definitely kind of helps get more vision or more recognition on channels and stuff, I've noticed.
I personally believe that live is probably the best option for me.
Yeah.
I can get I can have real time action, and it's not the same just running a back cam personally. But again, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna restart the series at some point in time. But at this point in time, it's just not for me. But let's not harp on that as much as we have now. Let's talk about the racing now.
We got a Toyota moving through the pack here, and even our race winner from last race, Andre Stefan, cracking his way up into the top 10. So Stefan looking to make it possibly 2 for 2 here tonight. Might not want to say that and jinx him, but getting into the top 5 already, looking good as our points leader.
As the points, if you're in the points, you obviously want the best position you can, but you don't want to risk that points position. You know, DNF is never good.
And we've seen that tonight already, where we've had 2 engine failures, so it might be better to stay in the back and kind of save your stuff and try to get a top 5 out of it over pushing it and ending your day before the end.
I might, as both an auto tech and a team owner, my theory is that those camshafts probably got flat from lack of oil, because again, these Rockingham is very bumpy and a lot of undulation. So I'm guessing some of that oiling systems weren't up to snuff. Probably flatted out the cam. That's my theory.
Well, and let's see. One was a Chevy and one was a Honda, so there's no direct correlation to the manufacturer.
I'm sure that both teams and organizers of those engines probably going to have a good look at them, see what went wrong, and improve on the next one.
Research and development, that's key to the teams, making sure to improve and get better. Yep, so again, I'm apologizing everyone as the technical difficulties of NR 2003. I'm trying to give a rundown on who's where. Leader, currently Ant Me Person. Over second place, Elena Reese. And then we've got Bradley Ream, Trevor Vaden, and we've got a wreck again. This will give us an opportunity to maybe check everyone after pit stops. Ooh, Taden Berggren must not have been happy with the 79 of Fireball Robert.
That definitely looked like a retaliation or a revenge of some sort. We have to definitely go back farther to see what happened in between them, or it's something in a previous race that I missed personally.
The only thing I can think about is they've bumped elbows in just about every step of the ladder, from trucks to Busch to Cup now. Both of them are in the Cup Series, so perhaps there was an argument or disagreement within the bye weeks that we had that they're trying to get sorted here tonight.
But I'm sure that we won't see that again. You know, intentional wrecking is very frowned upon. I'm sure everyone got it out of their system.
We've seen it in the Cup Series too, where myself included, I ended up taking out Atlee Weiss at Michigan earlier this year, and there was a bounty on Atlee's head that was claimed. Unusual circumstances that was, but we move on, and both me and Atlee continue to fight for the championship in Cup, so This is an update for Tim there. We got Tim and Tasha both running within the top 15, it seems, coming out of the pits on these yellow pit stops. As they cross the start-finish line now, it's going to recycle their standing, and Tim currently in 17th, Tasha in 18th. Day 2, Chris Hergeson, Santi Messi, Maggie Reams, Colton Smith, David Bird, Jakov Rosovich, John Brinker, Kyle Ottawa, Chris Mozzie, GP Luxembourg, Jessica Hergeson, Taden Berggren, that would be Gannon Bird, Zach Armstrong, Rose Reyna, Nate Gonzalez, Osiel Escobar, Leighton Avyard, Riley Sorrell Tracy, AJ Kosnoff, and the reason for the caution, James Robert sitting dead last on the field, as we've got 2 retirements already. So lights are out on the pace truck. It looks like Amp Meeperson maintains his lead. Update, it is lap 48 of 197, so roughly about a quarter of the way through the race. Apart from the 2 mechanical failures early in the race, they've been running pretty cleanly here since the 2 retirements due to a damaged camshaft with Chaz Chadwick and Cannon Gage. Our current highest running Chevy looks to be the 5 of Santi Messi in about 21st place. Tim was leading early on in the race and pitted within the first caution, perhaps to get off strategy from the rest of the folks. That strategy has kind of been erased since they made another round of pit stops under this last caution. But he's definitely got the pace with that 50 truck, being our defending champion. Sometimes you got to think outside the box to try and win the race. And a change for the lead.
You never count out a previous champion or previous winner. You know, when the back's against the wall, or just even just trying something new, it's never out of the ordinary.
Well, and with experience, you kind of get cagey sometimes, so you can almost expect the unexpected when it comes to a champion of the sport. He's been there, done that, and so how do you go from there? What do you evolve? How do you change? What's the next big step for, that driver?
Exactly. When you've won it all, what is there to do but change? Change it up a bit.
So Elena Reese gets to lead at the front of the field for the first time in her USA Trucks career. Impressive run here for the 87, teammate of Atlee Weiss. They're definitely stacked with talent, it seems, as a newcomer of this caliber running at the front leading already. Atlee also one of those teams that switched manufacturers just like Chaz Chadwick. They switched from Dodge to Toyota. And it doesn't seem to be slowing up Atlee's pace at all. It seems like it might have been a move for the better.
As a team owner, it's tough when to pull out of the manufacturer, but I think that it takes a good few years to figure out a new manufacturer, see if it's really worth it. So it's tough to make that decision. Sometimes it works for the better, sometimes it works for the worse.
So we're going to do our run through the pack again, as it looks like we've kind of settled out. Maybe I'll stay at the front here, as we've got a pass being made for second. And that's going to put Jordan Walker. So we saw previously at the first quarter of this race, Dodge leading and dominating at the front of the field. And now it's kind of a change of tide, as now Toyota is working their way to the front. Seems that the teams are definitely making changes under those cautions to get the truck set up just right for the finish of this one. But prior to that caution, where we had 3 Dodges running 1, 2, 3, it's looking like we might have 3 Toyotas catching up to the front of the field. Good battle here between the 13 and the 10. Me person does not want to give any room and keep as close to that lead as possible. And I can see Tim Cording cracking his way into the picture again. He's running about 8th right now. You only
don't want to fight too long for that second position, because you can see the 77 Evan really kind of inching his way every time they go side by side to get a position back.
Yeah, side-by-side racing is definitely not what you want to get to try and get more momentum on that leader. This is allowing Atlee Weiss to close back in, and before you know it, he's going to be fighting for 4th.
Goes 13 back to the inside. Side 10 has to hold it wide.
Oh, we got some good racing at the front of the field here. I definitely wanted to go through the field and give everyone a rundown on where everyone's at, but the racing at the front's too good to step away here.
Now 2x2 for 2nd and 4th.
Elena Reese, she's definitely enjoying the view in her rear view mirror, watching everyone fight for position behind her.
Absolutely. As a leader, this is probably the perfect opportunity. She's just taking it easy, cleaning up her tires, make sure it's all nice and happy. They're fighting for all the problems, but here she is just taking it easy. But she's not going to have it easy for long. That 13 car is coming with her.
And before you know it, it looks like TRD is going to be running 1-2 with Elena and Atlee now moving his way up to 2nd. It's a great 1-2 punch for the team. I may be incorrect, but I do believe the season opener at Fontana saw the team pairing finish 1-2. So could be a trend that we start seeing within the USA Trucks this year, is teams finishing alongside each other.
As a team, even just 2 cars, you always want the best scenario is always a 1-2. Best points for both of your drivers.
And it definitely keeps the competition behind you, limiting how many points that they can get. Wow, the top 5 is very bunched up at the front here. Looks like there might have been something that happened to Dalton Hayes, who was running right in 6th there, but now we got a change for the lead, as Atlee gets by his teammate there.
Guess that change on the 19 car really helped him out.
Wow, and Elena just got shuffled way up high and lost 4 spots there. tough break for that 87, having led so strong there this initial run. Tim Cording back into the picture here as he's up to 6th, about to make that pass on Elena. But I want to see what happened to the 55 truck, because there was, at one point he was running 6th, right in front of Tim Cording. Seems that when Tim Cording, the boss man, gets by him here, he just loses all momentum. It's not like draft is really a thing here, though.
I think he just lost confidence. I think he wasn't prepared for the pass. Lost confidence in himself in the car. Just kind of fell back.
Being a rookie in the series, it's possibly just kind of learning the ropes here and getting a feel for that truck. Atlee has definitely been a tough competitor here in the USA Trucks, having won roughly 5+ races last season, and just coming up short without the championship to claim. But he's vowed that he's going to keep making attempts at this series until he can someday hold up that championship trophy.
That's a definite admirable effort, even though sometimes you couldn't get it at the end. It's always good to chase after something. You see oftentimes a long-time champion just kind of lose their drive for the sport, they keep going, and they just kind of hang up their helmet saying, "I'm done."
Currently, we've got about 124 laps left to go, so still a good chunk of racing left here tonight. Going through the field, let's see, it looks like Jeffrey Gerald in 7th, Bradley Ream in 8th, Andre Stefan in 9th, Braden Hunt in 10th, Dalton Hayes in 11th, Justin Daytu in 12th, James Reddick with a 13, Logan Nagy with a 14, Craig Bush, Jack Ross, Ryan Little, Zach Armstrong, Colton Smith, Kyle Ottawa, Jakov Rosovich, Jack Davis, John Brinker, Chris Mozzie, Chris Hergeson gets passed here by Santi Messi. So Messi in 26th, GP Luxembourg in 27th, Chris Hergeson in 28th, 29th, almost matching the number on the truck there, the 30 of Tasha Wright. 30th is Tayden Berggren. 31st, Osiel Escobar. And then we got David Bird, Nate Gonzalez, Maggie Reams, Gannon Bird, Rose Reyna, Riley Sorrell Tracy, Jessica Hergeson, AJ Kosnoff, Leighton Avyard, and James Robert, who is just about to get lapped here by the leaders. So timed that run through the field perfectly.
Yeah, in the ARCA series, you see some of these truck guys come in and either run a team or run the ARCA car just to get experience. But a lot of these drivers didn't have their place in the ARCA, but they seem to have their place in the trucks.
Yeah, it's amazing to have seen the characters that have developed within the series. we've got kind of our big three when it comes to like Tim Cording, Atlee Weiss, and Chaz Chadwick. They're always the ones that you got to look out for each week. But I think the most fascinating part is seeing the diamonds in the rough. We kind of get to see our own form of David versus Goliath here in the USA Trucks when you have someone that's up to the challenge of racing the big three.
Absolutely. Even though one of our standout guys up in the arc, down in the dumps of arc, Josh Drake, even though it's only been 3 races, he won all 3 with amazing leads. I'm sure with no time at all, he can get picked up by a good truck team and show that power and dominance over here.
Yeah, and the crazy part is he's made starts in the trucks and has not really shown much strength and promise with the trucks, but maybe if he crafts his skill in the ARCA series, that's gonna. Oh, that's a big one. Those are 3 top contenders that spun out there. But I was saying he's probably gonna get better with every race he runs in ARCA to help hone those skills and making a good charge up the ladder.
He's the king. Not even up the ladder. He's king of the hills at the moment. He's our points leader. 3 wins in a row is something not to scoff at.
For sure, yeah, no, and you don't see that happen like much at all usually, especially the inaugural first 3 races. I don't know if there's much statistics that show something like that. So our caution here is with our 4th, 5th, and 6th place driver, or your 3rd, 4th, and 5th place drivers. Tim Cording on the high side here. Trevor Vaden and Jordan Walker. Ooh, it's going to be some significant damage there for the 50 truck being sandwiched up high.
At 77, just seems like he got loose on that bottom line and he just kind of lost it. Probably not used to running that bottom line. Wasn't ready for that weird bump on the bottom. But I seems to be wrong. The 10 looks like got into him. 77 wasn't clear. Air coming up the track.
I think the 10 held its line. It looked like the 77, like you said, your initial insight there where he hit the bump. Once he hits the bump here, it kind of shuffles him up into the 10 truck. The 10 was mostly an evasive, trying to stay off of that back bumper. As you can see, he comes up one line there and the 10 had nowhere to go.
Unfortunately, as the 77, there wasn't much you can do, but you gotta learn from that to know not to take that bottom line and that hard if you're down there. Not much you can really do at that point.
Oh, he came down on, I don't know if the pit road was open for that, so I don't know if he's gonna get held. Let's see. Yeah,
Probably
he's
just
gonna
check damage, make sure he's doing all right.
Be a lap down for sure now as the leaders come down pit road and he's staying on either that or the tail end of
the... This is
the
first race, correct?
Yes.
Your first race is getting into the championship leader like that, something out of your control. I definitely be shaken up as well. Sure, got a quick pep talk from his crew chief and from his team, make sure he's okay. Send him back out there.
So Tim Cording looks like he's going to maintain a 3rd here, even though he was involved in the wreck, so not bad. Elena Reese in 4th.
God bless you.
Did my sneeze go through the mic?
Yes, it did.
My mic doesn't mute anymore. What the heck? It's broken.
Oops.
Well, I muted that. I'm sorry, folks, that you had to... Maybe my sneeze was so loud that even the mic mute didn't work. I was muted again and I didn't have any response. So I think maybe I had it like half muted or something. Anyways, back to the race here. Seems like on the restarts is when we get the big changes for the lead. I think Tim Cording is definitely sitting in the catbird seat here, right there behind Atlee. Kind of measuring up his attempt here. But Tim Cording started the race leading and has now worked his way back up to 2nd.
Definitely that championship strategy paying off.
Got 110 laps to go, so closing in on a halfway.
Definitely what you don't want to see is a championship driver in your rearview mirror come on you ever so slightly. Definitely listen to your crew chief and your spotter. You're asking, how close is he? How much gaining is he? What is he doing that I'm not?
It really does make you start to overthink things sometimes when you got someone breathing down your back. But Atlee is definitely a wheelman. He's been there through thick and thin whenever Tim Cording's at the front of the field. So this is like a very, very pleasant rivalry.
Friendly banter, if you will. But as going up through the series, through late model and through dirt, or even through asphalt racing, my trick to not get fed up with the mirror is not to have one. My crew chief would block off my mirror with electrical tape, and he told me, don't use it, don't look at it. Every time you look at it, you lose a tenth. So I learned not to use the mirror when I'm driving. Just listen to the spotter.
Kind of contrary to what I expected. I thought on the restart we'd see a change for the lead, but Atlee seems to be defending very well at the front here.
Definitely that TRD car and that 19 team showing some true muscle here.
Centennial makes a good point there, as it seems like we've had random wrecks throughout the race here today. In our 2003, it's kind of hard to get a track that actually provides cautions I guess the word I'd be looking for would be consistently, but not repetitively, so that you kind of, it kind of creates like a stage race kind of flow going here. We had some breaks in the racing, give everyone a chance to get bunched back up, and the restarts are definitely a lot of fun here to watch.
Yeah, with cautions, it's definitely a balance. You don't want too many where the races become a restart fest, but you don't want none. So it's a definitely fine balance.
And that's kind of where, over the years that I've been running the series, I've kind of crafted it down to the best tracks that I have found. This of course being one of the best Rockingham tracks that I found.
I do have to say, Rock is probably one of my favorite technical tracks, outside of road courses. But if you need to train, go to Rockingham. It teaches you very well.
There we go, east. Because it's going to be longer than an hour, I got to save it in 2 chunks. Most of you probably don't know why I do that, but I've done that for every race because the way that they write replays in NR 2003, it'll stop recording, or it won't save the entirety of the replay if it's larger than a certain file size. So the way to combat that is to make a save station halfway through the race. Usually what I do is either within the first hour of the race, so that you can save what everything is happened through the first half of the race, and then afterwards it might cut out a chunk of that you just now saved, so that you got all the footage forever. And I've definitely got a lot of footage saved from all my series races that I've hosted since 2010. 1 terabyte hard drive completely full with 2010 to 2022.
But with ARCA, even though I ran less cars, I can usually get 1 file for our races, but with more cars and more laps, I'm sure you've run into trouble where you realize, wait a minute, this is only 1/2 of the race. Where's the other half?
Right. I found that out pretty quickly in 2010 when I started saving replays and half of the race was missing. I'm like, ah, shit. It's like there was a big wreck and I don't have it on replay, so there's no way I could tell that wreck ever happened.
Definite learning experience working with NR 2003, though I'm much newer to it than you are. Or I've definitely learned some quick tips and tricks that definitely help me when I'm doing the races. But you're gonna have to see that at a later date.
Yeah, if I had more time on my hands, I would definitely use all my footage that I have for promotional, try to get more folks excited about the series. I just wish there was more time in every day,
We only have a certain 24 hours, so we have to live the most of it.
That is for sure.
My three current cars are all not hoopties, but they're all having their own issues. So it's taking up a lot of my time and going back to school and working, and my time is not as free as it used to be, but I assure you the ARCA is not going anywhere. It's just on a indefinite suspension.
And
it will return.
It's in good hands, so.
Yes.
And I'm crazy because my time. I could probably be doing laundry right now or doing dishes, but instead I was going to save that for after the race here tonight, and I was going to tackle as much of the cleaning adult chores that need to be done after the fact, but I was more excited. I wanted to get this race going again. I wanted to get some trucks back on track so that we have some points, some wins, some stories that we can get rolling throughout the season here. And it's looking like we're going to start seeing more of the same from our championship contenders from last year, kind of trying to stink up the show here again. Atlee leading the way over Tim Cording, two drivers that finished I believe 1-2 in the championship. Can't remember if it was Chadwick in second or Atlee, so either or, it was two of the drivers in the final three.
You know, it's midnight for me over here in New York, and even though I could be doing much better things like sleeping or continuing watching this Top Gear episode, I'm here with you.
And at least we've been treated to a good race so far. It's been with some interesting changes for the lead, some wrecks. There might be a couple drivers with a beef after the wreck, after the race.
Absolutely. I'm sure that in the pit lane and after a race, there's definitely going to be some stiff talking to in between the officials and each other.
I'm kind of surprised that Tim Cording hasn't found his way around Atlee yet.
I think, in my opinion, the 50 is just biding his time, letting 19 use up those tires. And I'm just sitting there in the wakes waiting for that mistake that he's going to destroy his tires on and just going to run away.
Then you got to imagine, too, once they start catching this lap traffic again, that could pose a risk to further cautions in this race.
Lap cars are always a coin flip. Either they let you go freely or they don't let you go at all.
Well, and the nice part is they've been able to pretty peacefully make their way around lap traffic. I haven't seen too much that would be a blatant send them to the pits for making it hard for the leaders. We do have that rule in the series, especially at super speedways, where you might have the draft and they're catching up to lap traffic, and we will black flag drivers if they deem themselves a hazard or a risk to the lead of the field.
Definitely an important rule, but it's always a case-by-case basis.
Yes.
Yeah. You want to get rid of those cars that are in active danger, but you don't want to get rid of the guy 2 laps down that's actually still keeping up with the leaders or is actually faster than the leaders just because he got caught in a wreck early or spun out. So it's a definite case-by-case type of call.
There is quite a hornet's nest of lap traffic, though. This could be an opportunity for Tim Cording. Seems that our top three have kind of snuck away from the rest of the field here, with Atlee, Tim, and Ant. Tim sticking it. Whoa.
Whoa. Got a little bit of a contact between the 5 and the 50. Definitely lost a good 10th there getting around that lapped car, but
Wow,
Seems
they
like they're
have
all ahead.
really stretched the lead out from Elena Reese all the way in fourth, sitting 6.5 seconds back. Bradley Ream fifth, Braden Hunt sixth, Dalton Hayes seventh. Andre Stefan with the win last time and good run here tonight could potentially keep that points lead if he has a good finish here tonight. Sitting eighth right now. Trevor
As
Vate.
point leader, I'd be definitely shooting for a top 5, but it's whatever you can get at this point. It's still early in the season. Points aren't a not not to say not a concern, but it's less of a concern as of right now.
Well, and even top 5 very much obtainable for Andre Stefan there, as he's only got couple car links from him to 5th there.
Absolutely, still absolutely doable. It's just figuring out when is the right time to do it.
Jeffrey Gerald in 9th. Zach Armstrong in 10th, so good recovery for him as he was involved in one of the earlier cautions here. Kind of rebounding here for top 10 finish, possibly. The 11 of Craig Bush running 11th. It's so satisfying when you have the matching car number running in the position that they are. Justin Day2, James Reddick, Jack Davis, Logan Nagy, John Brinker, Jakov Rosevich, David Bird, not bad in the top 20 there with an 18th. One of the higher running Chevys, it seems. '19th of Kyle Ottawa. Skipped over. It looks like Tasha in her first career start running 20th. Jack Ross in 21st. Definitely a driver you don't want to be racing alongside. Very prone to accidents. He's kind of a terrorist out there on track.
More not a terrorist, but more like a glass cannon. Now he definitely has speed, definitely has pace, but he kind of does more than his own good. It does danger, or what's a good saying here? Fill me in.
More danger than good, or he's kind of a menace to himself.
Yeah. He has a fast car. He's a great driver, but it just seems like he's a little bit too far on the edge more than half the time.
On the edge and out of control. Could be fast, or it could be, it's the difference between checkers or wreckers sometimes. So it looks like Asiel Escobar getting passed here by GP Luxembourg. That'll put Asiel back to 23rd. Luxembourg up to 22nd. Colton Smith, Tayden Berggren. And here's our leaders all the way. They're lapping all the way up to 25th right now, as Ant Meperson's found his way to the lead somehow. So it seems that Atlee's struggling making it through the lap traffic here. So change of lead. Atlee struggling. Lost a couple spots back to 3rd. We're down to 21 trucks now on the lead lap. Race definitely far from over. As you can see, Atlee's making some moves now, trying to get back through this lap traffic and catch up to the 50. Now with only 21 trucks on the lead lap. Ant Me Person is definitely kind of gotten hot in the summer months here. He's been winning in the Cup Series periodically. He's accumulated 3 wins in the last month with the Sylvania Cup Series. And not slowing down here tonight with the great run here in the trucks. Some might not appreciate the open format with the trucks, but I like the sheer magnitude, having a larger field of drivers, whether they're cup regulars or not. It gives us a bigger field and more action every week. The 9, that's the 9 of day 2 blowing up.
Oh boy.
So yeah, and I can understand with real life NASCAR the rules that they have in place to keep the Cup regulars out of the feeder series, so that we have a more proper ladder of sorts that the rookies can truly test their skill amongst the other rookies. Some might have the devil's advocate to that, saying that they can learn more by racing with the veterans too.
But all series have their own veterans in their own right. You know, if you always have a cup regular off in the feeder series, you're kind of taking away the spotlight from the people who really need it. You know, bushwhacking was very frowned upon for a lot of people, but everyone did it, so.
And that's kind of why I feel like the truck series kind of stands on its own with that's where our Bush series will be exclusive for drivers that are not in the Cup series. It'll truly be a stepping stone up to Cup, and it'll be, probably the 10 best drivers not yet to make it to Cup. There's a lot up in the air. Not sure how that's all going to work, but buddy James Wright, the team owner for Tim Cording and such, he's going to be helping out and taking over the Bush Series next year. So
I'm sure that the Bush Series will have their time to shine, and that's their racing. But playing devil's advocate, you know, the Truck Series needs their heroes too.
and I personally, I can see that the having 42 drivers in the East and 42 drivers in the West, you might lose kind of the big picture, or even it kind of gets muddied down because there's so many drivers out there. But at the end of the day, it's going to be, everyone wants to see their driver out there fighting with the others for a win every week. And ultimately, that's kind of what we got, is kind of the best of the best duking it out with each other. Oh, we got another caution.
Do have to say it's a definite not a problem, but it's tough to get that fine balance between how many drivers and how many teams is too many in one place.
Yeah, way back in the day, the real life Cup guys, they would have 80 drivers making one race sometimes. Obviously, tracks are not able to facilitate that many drivers on a weekly basis, but this is kind of the closest thing we've got to like the old time kind of field of NASCAR, that they would have 80 drivers
Pre-charter of you never know who's going to make it into the show, since you have about 50, 60 cars showing up each week for qualifying.
Wow, that looked a lot like one of the other wrecks that we've seen here tonight. Seems that possibly the 04 was just a bit slower than the 34 and gets run into from behind. Bam. That looks like a case of they had two very different braking points on the track, and the 04 really didn't expect that much of a run to come up behind him. Bam.
You can definitely see the difference in their lines. 34 is a much higher line, probably has a lot more speed, but the 04 is taking the safer line and keeping it lower. So definitely is a not a intentional wreck, but just a case of different styles of racing.
So it seems like we're about 3/4 of the way through the race now, and another restart which will allow everyone to get bunched back up. And we do have only 22 trucks left on the lead lap. Under caution here, I'll go ahead and wave around one of the lap trucks to get them back on the lead lap. That way we can give one wave around each lap, well, each caution going forward here. Lights are off on the pace truck. We'll get back going here in just one lap's time. Top three have definitely been the showcase here tonight, as most laps led, probably about 95% of the laps led have been by Ant Me Person, Atlee Weiss, or Tim Cording.
Definitely a toss-up. We're going to have to, when the race is over, we're going to have to check the standings who actually going to get those extra points.
So yet again, another restart here, and Tim Cording in a good spot there on that inside line. We saw one restart where the driver from third actually made it 3 wide to take the lead. Might be a little bit harder when your two fastest trucks are in front of you, but I wouldn't put it against Tim Cording to make it 3 wide at any point of the race here. Good run there.
But that bottom line's definitely got to run off the restart. It looks like the 50 is going to keep that second place. It's going to stay behind 13 as they get to the stripe again.
As you see, the two trucks are actually breaking away from third place on back. Atlee settles in there and looks like he might be able to get a rhythm going here.
You know, as the track is getting pretty rubbered up, you can definitely see the fastest groove coming through.
And for some of you too, you might not know exactly how this East-West Championship works out. The championships will be broke up into 3 separate championships. You will have an Eastern Division champ, a Western Division champ, and then you would have a combined champ at the end of the year, which will be determined by the top 10 from the East, the top 10 from the West, those 20 drivers will be locked into a chase format of sorts, yet to be kind of ironed out. But kind of think of it as more of a chase, I guess, kind of where the points will reset based on, and then those last races at the end of the year, it's not going to be elimination or anything. It's going to be those 20 drivers fighting for the overall championship. They will have some bonuses based on wins, and even Eastern Division champion will get a bonus. Western Division champion will get bonus points and stuff like that. But yeah, kind of the same. It's almost like a hybrid of all the different. You still have the win and you're in scenario. So with Andre Stefan having won the first race of the season, he has earned his seat in the top 10 drivers. With 11 races, there's going to be only 10 spots available. So we could have 11 different winners. Then it would go down to who's highest in the points with that 10th place or the 10th win, 10 of 10 win drivers. And that could happen, honestly. With how stacked the fields are, there's no telling. We could have 11 different winners in 11 races.
It's definitely you never know type of thing. It's early in the season. We only have 1 or 2 races done on each division, so it's a definite toss-up.
And it's kind of almost a sprint if you think about it for these drivers. Each driver, because there's only 11 races on the East Coast and 11 races on the West Coast, that's only 11 races, which seems crazy. That's, even shorter than an IndyCar season that has 17 races. But of course, they will be fighting for a combined championship, which adds 8 races at the end of the year. So that gets them up to 19 races in total for any given driver. But the initial 11 races is going to be kind of a sprint. Like tonight, for example, with Chaz Chadwick having a mistake. Sometimes the old clause, it's like, yeah, it's only race 1 or race 2, but it's only race 2 of 11. So your season's already 20%, well, about 18% over at that point. And the mistakes that you made tonight might be harder to dig yourself out of.
Yeah, definitely a short season. It makes a lot more on the line. Even the ARCA series has a fairly small schedule, about 14 races. But I am planning after I like to call the East Side season, it's gonna go to the West Side season. So we're always gonna have a good rotation of tracks.
Nice.
So I'm probably gonna take some key notes here and there. We're gonna still have the same rule set and drivers, but per season it's gonna be 14 races on the East, 14 races on the West. If you ever saw the schedule, if you ever went onto the internet and made that route, the plan I had was the schedule would be the most efficient. So you go from Florida to New York to Wisconsin.
So efficient, keeps it cheaper for the teams to travel kind of in a straight line from here to there to each racetrack and whatnot.
The ARCA is definitely a cheaper series to run. Spec cars, spec engines, spec chassis. But, ooh, that's really not good.
So we seem there's been a lot of pinballing. The Hergeson International Race Team, the 05, the 06, the 04, I think they've all been involved in some form or another with a wreck here tonight. This time it's the 05 of Rose Reina getting into contact. The two kind of looks like the two drives into her. Rough night for that team for sure. The Honda team of HER.
I do have to say, if this continues on, the officials going to have a long, recorded conversation to all the drivers about this kind of shenanigans. You know, racing is racing, but it's one thing to take people out.
So, as we've got roughly 39 laps to go, give a rundown through the field. Ant Meeperson leads the way over Tim Courting, Atlee Weiss, Bradley Ream, Braden Hunt, Jeffrey Gerald, Elena Reese, Jack Davis, Andre Stefan, and Zach Armstrong round out your top 10. Then you got Dalton Hayes, James Reddick, David Bird. Quite the hustle through the field here. The highest running Chevy in 13th. John Brinker and Colton Smith. Actually, Colton Smith is a lap down. Jakov Rosevich is 15th, rounding out your top 15. GP Luxembourg, Tasha Wright, those two are a lap down. Then we got Logan Nagy, Craig Bush. More lap down traffic here. As our 18th place driver is Jordan Walker, the last driver on the lead lap here. The rest of them are all at least one lap down or more. These leaders have been kind of slicing and dicing their way through lap traffic in the second half of this one. The cautions keep falling at opportune times to keep them separated from those lappers, though.
Definitely. Those caution lights come off that Ford F-150 SVT Raptor pace truck. It's one more time around before we go green. This might be our last restart of the day, depending on how the drivers behave.
Interesting change of perspective here, as Tim Courting is now going to start on the outside front row. Atlee Weiss starting on the inside, back to third there. We'll see if Atlee makes it 3 wide for the lead here with Tim and Ant. Whoa, that was quite the jump there from Tim Courting. I know in most cases that would be an illegal move, but not here in NR 2003. They won't penalize him for getting that good of a start.
And that was a definite. We would probably have to go back on the replay on that. Check that was a jump, because the rule in modern NASCAR rule states you cannot pass the leader before the green flag, before the checkers.
And that rule is definitely much newer than when this game came out in 2003. I think back in 03 they would have been legal as long as you passed them on the outside. So it's kind of weird, because this game doesn't really equate for double file restarts, because you're usually it kind of thinks you're doing single file restarts. So all's clean, unfortunately. It was very much a bold move. It seems that Aunt Me Person has not been able to strike back, so Tim Cording with the faster truck right now leading the way over Atlee Weiss and Aunt Me Person. And throw Braden Hunt into the mix now up to 4th.
Definitely throw a curveball for that 13 team. Trying to figure out what they can do to get back those 2 positions that they lost with this short of time left. Going on 30 laps ago.
It's crazy. Last time that Tim Cording was leading in this race was all the way back on lap 5, right before he pitted under the first caution, sending him all the way to the back. So 160 laps separated the last time that he was at the front of the field, but he found his way back.
Sometimes you wonder, these championship drivers, if they're just doing stuff like that for fun or just for challenge's sake.
True. It's like he's playing with the field, basically. It's kind of like a toy. Or, like a cat when it catches the mouse and doesn't necessarily kill the mouse right away, but rather, keeps playing with the mouse as it tries to, rustle around, and it's more of a toy to them at that point.
As we're just getting on 30 laps to go, it's still early to say if Tim Cording is going to make a mistake or let the second and third place position make their move.
Seems like there's a little bit less separation at the front of the field as Elena Reese is kind of keeping within distance of the lead pack here. Turned one of the fastest laps of the top of the field, so we might have 5th and 6th close in on the picture here before you know it. Yeah, it turned a 24.6. Compare that up to the 24.7 that the leader turned.
Yeah, it's 1/10 isn't a lot, but over 30 laps, that's a 3-second gain. Definitely could be close.
And you can't count out Andre Stefan there in 6th. He got to taste victory lane for the first time in the season opener and probably wants to try and go back-to-back.
That first one's always special, and they are always hungry for more.
One thing that's been fascinating tonight is we've seen 3 different manufacturers represented at the front of the field. At one point, it was all Dodge. Then it was all Toyota. And right now as they run, it's Ford, Dodge, and Toyota. So kind of parity towards the front of the field here in the closing laps.
It's time. Even though Subaru and Honda are fairly new to the truck series, should have time for Chevrolet to open their eyes and figure out what they're doing wrong with that truck chassis.
Well, impressively got David Bird up to 11th here. Could potentially be one of his best finishes. I don't think he's gotten a top 10 in the series yet. Especially if you look back with Chevy not having got many with 0 wins in the column. They've even got, very few top 5s and very few top 10s to that list as well. So could be a record finish here tonight for him.
Makes you wonder if their assets, having them in a General Motors vehicle in all 4 series, kind of splits up the assets too thin.
not many laps left in this one here tonight, as we've just got past the hour-and-a-half mark. 21 laps to go here. Tim Cording leading over Ant Me Person and Atlee Weiss. Elena Reese up to 4th, so TRD Motorsports running 3rd and 4th. Not bad, not bad at all. Ant Me Person, I think, might have an answer to Tim Cording here at the front of the field. As you can see, he's kind of caught up to him. Giving him a mirror full of that Red Bull Dodge Ram.
And last year, anything with Red Bull should be taken seriously.
Right.
You got Oracle Red, I forget their full name now, Red Bull, with Max Verstappen basically winning everything on the circuit over there.
Yeah, you gotta be a high caliber driver even to get Red Bull, to be present on your vehicle usually.
Very much so. Even though Red Bull's kind of had a troubled past in NASCAR, not really having the best drivers, usually having a good rotation. Scott Speed, Travis Quapple, Casey Kane.
Brian Vickers is probably their best driver. Well, and Casey Kane didn't do too bad when he got into his shift with them. But I mean, nothing, they're not like winning as much as a Joey Logano or some of the other drivers that at least win once a year. Even a Kurt Busch, who would still win all the way into his retirement.
Very unfortunate retirement. It seems like it was never meant to be for Red Bull. Casey Kane getting their only win during their last year of operation at, I believe, Phoenix Raceway.
Crazy. And yes, Chevy has led a lap, at least at a super speedway, that's for sure, Centennial. Yeah, and I don't think that number is very large, but they've at least led laps. There has been top fives. There was a driver that finished runner-up at a super speedway in a Chevy. They just came up short of the win. We got lap traffic now. It's going to cause kind of some commotion here with the lead. We can go back and double check to see. David Birds, 12th. Jakov Rosevich, 11th. 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th. So this might allow for Elena and Andre to catch up to the lead. As you can see, all that lap traffic. Tim Cording making it look easy as he slices and dices his way through the traffic. 12 laps remain here. Just want to say thanks again. We did have about 5 people at the peak here tonight. It is good to have most of you tune in. Thank you. I know it's late. Hoping that we get more people to catch the re-air tomorrow when they get a chance. Been a good race here at Rockingham. Thanks for joining in the booth with me too, Andrew.
No problem. It's pretty late for me, but I'm always happy to stick around.
And I can probably vouch for everyone in the server. We're behind you. We understand that life gets busy, and it's like if you need to take a break, it's perfect. You need the time to focus on the more important things in life. So I'm just glad that that we are able to, it's a community that we've got, it's pretty tight knit, so we'll get back to it when we can, it'll be perfect. The timing will be right. We'll have ARC races again someday, and yeah. And who knows, we might you never know. We might be sooner than later, or, maybe it'll work out better next year once things, we never know. Life, kind of comes at us at waves, so.
Absolutely. And I appreciate everyone kind of understanding my situation, and it means a lot.
So down to 7 laps to go, and man, is Tim Cording driving away from the rest of the field.
There's that championship winning experience just kind of slowly running away.
Yeah, the rest of them struggling to make through the lap traffic here, as it looks like Andre Stefan now up to 4th here. Race winner to start the season, and a 4th at least on the docket right now for him. Like you've been talking all night, the tire wear is huge at this track. We had seen them turning 24.5. Now they're down to 25.5 on the lap. So the drop off is tremendous. Once they hit it, it's like hitting a brick wall.
Yeah. People who've really used up their tires are gonna feel that in these next 5 laps. Tim Cording be no upset.
Whoa. Look at the 13 has closed the gap tremendously here on Tim Cording. I think Tim's used up those tires or something, because there's no way that gap closed as quickly. 1 second down to 0.2. This race is not over.
I was just about to say, Tim Cording's probably used up those tires. He's gonna really feel the effects. And here they come. That 13 car, been sticking back all race. Ace just for this.
This is a vintage Rockingham race. Even the time they tried to come back and race Rockingham, it's always been the surface. It's always been the wear, and it makes for these gritty battles that you just basically, it brings the driver out. 3 laps remain, and I could not predict who's got this one in. Oh, and there's the caution. So what I'm going to do, because I didn't turn it on, I'm going to turn on the green-white checkers. Because I don't want to be without a finish here tonight. We don't want to finish under caution. That would be unfortunate.
But
I gotta close that.
In the real world, in 2003, that would have been the end. The perfect time for Tim Cording's caution, if we're gonna stay to caution to the end. Lap 197 would be perfect for him.
Pretty sure the way it works, if I click that little check mark before the white flag, then we'll get, yep, right there, you got it, 196 of 198. So we will get at least 1 restart here. I don't think we'll get another caution to end it right away.
Definitely going to be a one more time.
I was keeping my eye on that. I didn't know if we were going to make to the finish. Usually once you get that far in the tire run, that's when your cautions start coming out. It's when people start losing they have a skill issue,
They just start pushing the tires too hard. Either they spin out trying to get that power down, or they understeer right to the wall.
Now, this restart's going to be something else because none of these guys are going to pit. They're going to be out there on these very rough and wore out tires. It's all going to depend on how they get the restart going. Tim Courting on the inside. It might be 3 wide. It might be a wreck going into turn 1. You never know.
Absolutely now. In racing, you only got about a lap with those cool tires where they're nice. They can get grip and that they're optimal. So the question is, who's going to use up that 1 lap faster? I've definitely used up that 1 lap in about a corner or two, and then I fall off the rest of the race.
The lights are out. We're going to get the lap traffic sent to the back. Not a lot of drivers on the lead lap as we've only got 18 left on the lead lap.
Question is Tim Courting going to take the high line or the low line? Wisdom would say low, but you never know.
Yeah, that high line has been where you want to be because that'll be where the big run usually comes.
But no, he's going to take the low line.
Andre Stefan up to 4th there. Could get a good finish here. I'm wagering we're going to see 3 wide going into turn 1. Atlee's going to make this very interesting, especially when he's got his girl right behind him with possible push. Wow, they are side by side going into turn 1. It looks like Tim Courting will probably prevail here. But this has got to be hard, especially on a restart with wore out tires. He's got the inside line. He can't make to the finish. He's pulling down pit road.
I think he may be out of gas.
White flag this time by Atlee. Storms to the lead here. There's more trucks running out of gas on the last laps here. This is going to be one for the record books, as it's going to be
close.
Another one running out of gas maybe. Ooh, wow. Atlee storming off into the lead with the win here tonight at Rockingham. Fortunately, the 1-2 was not in the cards as Elena Reese had run out of gas coming through at the end there. Yeah, everyone's coming back out on off pit road now. It's kind of causing congestion on track.
And there's NASCAR 2003.
The race is over, so this was all extracurricular after the fact.
But I do think that 19 definitely on fumes.
Yeah, you can see.
The 19 and the 50 were practically on the exact same strategy. So the question is, was it left coast? Was it saving? Or is it just different engines?
Yeah, I'll have to double check too. The 87 of Elena Reese had a great finish coming, and it looks like she's going to come home 13th here.
A respectable first outing. but I appreciate you having me here. I appreciate you putting on the show for us.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to join in for the race tonight. It was a good race. Definitely an unexpected finish. Let's see who comes home second. It's me person in second. Third looks to be Jeffrey Gerald. Fourth, Bradley Ream and David Bird with a top 5. Yep, that checks out all right. David Bird with a top 5 finish here tonight. Highest finishing Chevy in the field here at Rockingham.
But I do appreciate you having me on the booth, Jacob. I wish you a good night.
Yep.
And I wish all who is viewing a good night. And I hope you enjoy the stream.
Yep. Till next time. We'll see you next time. Hopefully, even if anything, maybe we can have you in the booth a few more times throughout the season of the trucks. If it works out. So
if they aren't this late, I'll sure be on.
Okay. Yeah, if I'm gonna try to run another race tomorrow, and I don't think it's gonna be near as late. It's probably gonna be around evening time, so about 5 o'clock tomorrow. If you're free, we can do that too. So, if not, and I'll definitely. It's tentatively at 5 o'clock tomorrow. So
I'll give you a holler.
Alrighty. Well, have a good night.
You have a good night.
So congratulations to Atlee Weiss on getting the win here tonight. A lot of action, a lot of chaos. Overall was a good night of racing here for everyone involved in the USA Trucks. I hope everyone has a good night. Luckily, it was a Friday night, so, I mean, most of you probably don't have anything going on tomorrow, so a late night like this probably wasn't too bad, but I hate doing it to everyone, but at the same time, I kind of try to at least, it's on my time, and it's kind of hard, but it'll all work out because we still have the video on demand the next day. So I'm glad to be back. The wedding and honeymoon went perfectly. I don't know, and we're back in the swing of things. So the way things are going to go on from here is our truck series will be basically 2 races every week for the rest of the season. It'll kind of roll into October, November, but the double headers of sort will be kind of like this, like a Friday night, Saturday night deal. Maybe Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I'm not really solid on scheduling, but at least you'll get to see the East trucks race one night and the West trucks race the next night. So that kind of concludes tonight's broadcast. Congratulations to Atlee Weiss. I think that makes about 8 wins in the series for him. We'll have to actually start tallying those stats and getting kind of a winner board put together. Currently, Atlee Weiss is your winningest driver in the USA Trucks. And so we'll see how the West Side fares tomorrow with a whole new cast of drivers from what we saw tonight. So have a good night, everyone. Stay safe out there. Have a good Saturday morning tomorrow, and we'll see you for the next race tomorrow evening. This is Jakester signing out.